Yo, what is good, everybody? It's your boy, the Strongest Wizard, and tonight is indeed Fight Night. And we got my boy Twitter on the right-hand side with, of course, that Enel, as well as myself on the left with that Yamato. Now, Twitter did end up deciding to go first. I think the deck always wants to go first against Yamato, which most decks usually do. And I gotta say right now, this matchup is pretty bad with Yamato, or for Yamato. This is probably its worst matchup, definitely. Definitely feels like there's not much you can actually do. So I do play the Hiyori. I end up grabbing the Kiku and just setting it right back. Not really doing any tricks here. And then we see an AK swing. I have to counter out of this to find some sort of value for that Kiku. And I do end up countering out of that with two 2Ks, of course. And now with 4 active Dawn, there is essentially no world here where I swing and he actually just does not end up taking it. As soon as Twitter or / Enel gets down to 1 life, Yamato's double attack plan just goes out the window because it doesn't connect the second attack. So really, it does not matter. So as soon as he goes down to 1, it's pretty much useless, that leader ability. So I swing 6k into life. He does end up taking it, and I figured he would take it no matter what just to set himself closer to 1 life. And then I play the Holy. Now I had a swing there just because I want to get value off that Kiku, like I did mention before. And so we are going to see a 5k swing. I am going to go ahead and play the trigger, and now we see the Gadatsu punish here for that Holy. I feel like I play the card no matter what, and if he sees it, he sees it. Not much I could really do here. And you see me here actually having a Dawn stuck to another Dawn. I end up grabbing an extra Dawn the previous turn. It doesn't really matter in this game, and I end up catching it before it does matter. So we are going to go ahead and tap here for another Kiku. And I am going to go ahead and play the Hiyori here. We have another Hiyori in hand, so we're going to grab our top life, kind of stack our life kind of how we want it, and I'm going to go ahead and play a different card into life. It could have been the same too. Now, the way this deck wins Enel is you set up a board, eventually you go wide enough, and then you just kind of go active into their board, go for life, and try to go for game. So that's essentially what I'm doing here. I'm playing bodies out so that eventually I get to a certain point where I feel confident enough that maybe I can actually win. Now, of course, Kiku is a fantastic card in this matchup just because if he tries to remove it off the board, I recover a life regardless. But unfortunately, against Enel, it doesn't really matter if you recover. It doesn't really matter how much life you have. They want to starve you anyways until they feel comfortable to actually KO you. So it's kind of interesting here. We are going to see the reject, aka soon to be banned in OP07. It's going to pop the Kiku. I'm going to go ahead and recover 1. See a 7k swing going into life, and we see another trigger. And we're going to go ahead and pitch the Hiyori. We have too many Hiyoris in our hand. And this is actually pretty good for us. The fact that we were able to replace a character with another character is pretty awesome to see. And he didn't establish any new characters other than, of course, just swinging into life and popping one of mine. So not too bad there. And now we are currently sitting at, I believe we're sitting at 9 Dawn. I do end up realizing, hey, like I mentioned before, I grabbed an extra Dawn, putting it away. Don't worry, I'm not a cheater. But we see the Onami here, and this needs to connect. So I'm swinging huge here, and it does end up connecting, and he does end up recovering, and now my leader ability is technically powered off, other than the fact that I can give 2 Dawn to a character. Now, he has a good amount of cards in his hand. I don't really feel like sacrificing one of my characters to swing into live, because then he's just going to swing into my characters. So instead I end up just passing the turn, I believe. Pretty rough here. I think I'm still debating here if I want to swing. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough because, like I said, if I swing, he just goes for the characters and then, pretty much relieves my threat on the board. Just pretty much KOs my threat. So now sitting at 9 Dawn, he's going to go ahead and play the Yamato, pops the Kiku, he recovers, I recover, we swing 5k into life. I only have 1 card in hand. I'm going to go ahead and take this card here, and he's going to pass the turn. He's choosing not to swing with the Gadatsu because he does not need to. So once again, starving me here of cards, and I have the Hodi in my hand, which is very good here. I could swing 8k into life with double attack. I could just attach 3 cards, 3 Dawn to my leader and swing 8. and then hopefully the 5k and then the 3k connect, which is essentially a 5k. But we are just gonna go ahead and play it a bit slow here, play the Kiku from my hand, and honestly I'm probably gonna pass here just because I don't have enough bodies on the board to feel confident to go for game. And yeah, I do end up just passing here with 2 cards in my hand. It's the 0 cost as well as the Hody. Now I'm kind of telling myself that by next turn, hopefully I can play the 7 cost Hody. With now the Kiku on board, I have a little bit of reinsurance here that with the 5k plus the 6k, I might be okay. We see the Katakuri, which is the 4 cost character, revealing to my opponent my life and then setting it to the bottom. Pretty awesome to see this tech in this deck. It's a really good card actually. So we see a 7k swing going into life. I do end up taking it, no trigger. We see a 7k swing going into life. Of course, it does have rush since he has more life than I do, which works perfectly with Enel. And I am going to go ahead and take it, no trigger once again, and we see a solid 9k swing going into life. I have enough counter to counter out of the 9, but I am going to go ahead and take it because I know he's probably going to swing for 9 here. And we see the Amaru swinging 10k into life. This is a lot of cards I have to dump from my hand, and I pretty much have to let go of all of my cards from my hand except for 1. So we see the 0 cost. I'm debating which card to counter out of with the 0, making it a 12k, and I get rid of the Hody. It was between the Hody and the Amaru, and I decided to do Hody just because I feel like the extra 1k was more necessary here. I mean, it might be. We'll find out shortly and see if it really mattered. But now the clock has started, and this is essentially my last turn. I have to win here, or it's nothing. It's all or nothing here. Now, Twitter does have, I believe, like 6 cards in his hand, and these 2 swings that need to connect. Thank the Lord it does, but unfortunately I hit into a beige, and the beige just makes me want to cry here. He's going to stun the Kiku and recover 1 using leader ability here to trash a card. Now, this is pretty rough here. I am going to use Amaru here to give plus 3k to my Onami, but unfortunately, depending on what the trigger is, it really doesn't matter. If it's really an Onami in his life or anything that can pop a character, it pops 5k or less, so I'm not too really worried about it. So if he has it, he has it. I swing 7k into life, he hits Ashura, revealing the top 5 cards for of course, a Sky Island, grabbing that balloon animal, which is Satori, swinging 7k into life, and he has the counter even without the Satori. So really, really rough here to see. And obviously Twitter does end up taking it. Thank you guys so much for checking out this channel as well as this video. I really do appreciate it, and stay tuned because I have a ton of new OP06 content coming out soon. See ya.